Okay, good evening. That was a lot of explosions, actually. I never really thought about that. You know, to get a lifetime, first of all, thank you, Carl, and thank you, Nadia, for giving me this honor. It is special to be here in Zurich. I spent a lot of time here as a child, and it is a rare thing to be honored for your career. I have to say, when I was first asked, it made me think I was really old and about to die or something. But it did also make me think a lot about my career and the choices I've made and the choices that have gone right and that have gone wrong and how did I get here. And that's really great to reflect on your life in that way, and it's really special to be part of this industry that allows us to entertain so many people. You know, I was trying to think about what important thing I had to bestow on the audience, and the truth was, I think what really gets anybody in a position like I am in is someone who taught you a lot. And so for me, I'm dedicating this to a gentleman by the name of Terry Semmel, who was my boss at Warner Brothers for a little over 10 years, who unfortunately is suffering from Alzheimer's disease now. And he taught me what I know. And I would not be here without him. He taught me about challenging the audience and not being afraid. In a business that is always afraid of risk and of acceptance, he gave me the will and the perspective of understanding that what we do is a special thing, and the way to treat it is not to be afraid of it, but to hold on to it and really give it a go. And so movies like The Matrix, which he greenlit, which I fought for many years, is indicative of the kinds of movies that I like to make. Deep Water is another movie that is, I think, a very extraordinary experience for the audience. It will make you feel like you've really gone through an experience, not like the people that night, but quite an experience. And so I know you probably want to see the movie, so I'll finish, but thank you very much, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Lorenzo di Bonaventura, congratulations, Lorenzo. Congratulations also from my side, not just for this lovely, prestigious award, but in general for this impeccable, incredible career. When you started off, when you were a young man, did you ever dream of making it this far? Did you ever dream of standing on stage going, I'm going to win a career achievement award?
No, I think that's what I was saying. When suddenly it was offered to me, it really took me by surprise. I don't think it's something you plan for. It certainly isn't something that I thought was going to happen. So it's special because you don't think it's going to happen.
And when you look back on your stellar career, was there like a moment that you felt, I think I made it in Hollywood? Did you have that breakthrough moment, and what are some of those milestone moments in your career?
Well, it's kind of a funny movie to mention, but I put together the movie Under Siege with Steven Seagal many years ago. I had two bosses, one of who was not always the most emotionally giving individual. And after the first preview of that movie, he came up to me and said, I guess we're going to renew your contract. That was the moment I was like, okay, I'm all right. You know, I'm going to have a renewed contract.
So when you look back at all these films, is there like a film that you say this was the most fun to produce? And do you have one that you actually can you watch your own films? Do you still enjoy watching your own films? And if so, what's one of those films that you can watch over and over again?
You know, what's interesting is when you see an old film, sometimes you made 15, 20 years ago, you forget a lot of the choices that you did. And sometimes I look at movies and I go, how the hell did we have the guts to pull that off? Or boy, we really blew that. And so I don't think there's any one. I mean, The Matrix probably at the end of the day, it was not a movie I produced, but it was the movie I put together at Warner Brothers. You know what? Every movie is in a bit your child, so it's hard to pick between them.
Is there a movie you'd rather forget?
Yeah, I won't mention it either.
Hey, I thought this would be a good moment. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of film fans in here, or even filmmakers that would love to achieve what you have achieved. And I know it's a bit of a common question, but that being said, I'm sure everyone would appreciate it. Is there any words of advice, any words of encouragement to young filmmakers out there?
In my experience, I think I've been in the business 28 years. I think the common factor that I see in the people who've survived over that time period, because it is an industry that's really rough and it knocks out a lot of people along the way, is really two things. One is perseverance. I think that's probably number 1, 2, and 3, really. It's a business of rejection, and you have to get up every day and get rejected again. And so I think that's incredibly important, is to recognize that no matter how new you are to the business, you're getting the same treatment that somebody like myself gets. I get rejected every day. And so you have to have the perseverance to stick through that. And I think the other thing is you have to have the confidence to stick with what you like. The disasters that I've been involved with or near disasters are almost always when I was convinced into liking something instead of liking it. And I think because you have to fight so hard, you really have to have the passion for the thing it is to begin with. And so it helps you in the perseverance part, but it also helps you in making something that's authentic and honest.
You're not just here to receive the award, you're here to also present one of your latest films. I know there's many in the pipeline. I don't even know how you sleep, but I think Transformers 6 and 7 is... or
5 right now, please.
I know, but even 7 is planned now.
Yes, there is.
Just in case you get bored.
We'll have a few more explosions after that.
Exactly. Let's talk about Deepwater Horizon just for a little bit. We obviously all remember that tragic moment back in, I think, in 2010. How did you get a hold of that project, and tell us a bit about that production?
I read a New York Times article by a really distinguished journalist that talked about the fact that there were 126 people on the rig and 11 had died. And in the massive amount of coverage I'd seen, I'd never heard really about the number of people that were involved or the number of people who had died. That was the instigating incident for me to get involved. As we dug into it, you became emotionally attached to these people, and it is a story of great heroism and great sacrifice. And so it was able to attract a studio and a financier, Lionsgate and Participant Media, who had the guts to follow this. And it's a very expensive movie and is not following the Hollywood tradition of there is no sequel. So, you know,
on you, right?
5 years later, here we are.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, we have the honor, ladies and gentlemen, tonight that you will announce this fantastic film yourself.
I'm immensely proud of this. This is probably the best job I've done as a producer. It was the most daunting job, and it is a tale of great sacrifice. And I think one of the remarkable things about this story and about the people in the story is that many of them acted like you wish you would under pressure. That's the thing that really impressed me is, you know, you try to put yourself in this situation and how you're going to react, and am I going to be proud of how I reacted? And so many people acted the way you would hope they would act, and the result of it was that not more people died. When the Coast Guard first heard about this incident, they thought that they were going to have between 2/3 and 3/4 loss of life. But because of several individuals, many whom we highlight tonight, they brought everybody home. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And I know it's always difficult to talk about a tragedy and people died. It's hard to say it's an exciting movie, it's you know, entertaining, but it's both of those things, and it's also emotional. So I know, take a big breath at the end of it. I know every time I watch the movie, I find myself going, you know, it's really an experience. And Pete Berg and our whole cast did a phenomenal job. Thank you. Enjoy the movie.
The recipient of the 2016 Career Achievement Award, Lorenzo di Bonaventura.